Hey everybody, Tyrants on the Field here, Joe. Uh, really exciting keynote that we had, but I do want to talk about one thing. Um, well, a couple of things that are pretty big, pretty impactful, and we won't know the full extent until January 21st when we have all of the updates for January in. That's when the January update will be launching. But they did have some pretty big reveals today in the keynote. The biggest thing is the spell rack is going away. For those unfamiliar, the spell rack has been a mechanic since the start of Mark IV. Uh, it was a set of 10 spells that was unique to your army, well, partially unique to your army, that all of your casters that had rack slots had the ability to pull spells from that list at the start of every game. Um, it was a way to normalize matchups to some extent. In practice, you took the best spell on your rack and the second best spell, and then occasionally you'd swap one of those for something that was highly matchup specific. Uh, what it tended to be was those that had Carnage on the rack always took Carnage. Those that had Windstorm on the rack nearly always took Windstorm. Those that had Silence of Death on the rack nearly always took Silence of Death. And so you got into matchup sets that were fairly, for lack of a better term, normalized. So you'd have prescriptive methodology. And if you weren't in the know, and they highlighted this in the keynote, if you're a new player coming into the game, the spell rack adds a level of complexity to the game that's not insurmountable, but it does highlight the skill gap between a veteran player and a new player when you're dealing in the spell rack. Um, it can also lead to some sameness, even between casters, although the caster differences do help mitigate it a bit. But the rack is going away, and a big reason the rack is going away is that was what was highlighted, was given as the explanation. The other thing that they want to do holistically in the January update, and this was point 2, is reduce the general lethality of the game. And the lethality is the term that they utilized. What that means is they're looking at some stat reductions in terms of mat, rat, arcane stats, potentially looking at some POWs, and looking at some ranges, particularly around sprays. They want to make sprays short range, impactful items, meaning they're looking at reducing the ranges on the spells uh, between 2 and 6 inches, depending on the sprays. I think they said some of the longer range shots they also want to look at reducing range wise. So I think we're going to see a little bit of threat range come down in the game generally. We're going to see a little more variance in the hitting capability, removal of racks, general removal of carnage in spots, uh, getting away from gang and reducing instances of gang on units, I think was highlighted as well. But just a general reduction in the lethality. What they want is to get back to a point where a charge doesn't mean that a unit is wiped off the table. If a unit charges another unit, that unit isn't always wiped off the table, that there's a little more stickiness to models and units as opposed to adding wounds, which would have a similar effect. Instead, we're going the route of reducing um, reducing the chances to hit and the lethality of the hit. So the overall goal is to reduce the lethality a bit and to have the racks come off. And of course, January will also focus on bringing some models up, bringing some models that are a little bit performing a little bit over what was expected, bringing those models back into line. I think that these changes have really far-reaching effects on the overall game itself. The other part to this is that all of the casters that had rack slots will be reevaluated and get reimagined. There'll be a little bit of distribution of the rack itself. Kind of imagine that the real powerful spells are kind of gone from that. The more utility spells are going to be distributed amongst some of the casters. But also, they are not afraid to give a caster a spell or two that was not on the rack, but really rounds out their kit or makes their playstyle more interesting. Two examples that were provided was Calder is getting countermeasures, which is a pretty interesting spell for that caster to get. And then in Winter Core, Borashek, good old Boris, is gaining Snipe. So Winter Core will have access to Snipe with Borashek when he's leading, which is really on brand for him. Brings something very unique to the army, and I think is part of the exciting point of becoming more caster-centric and remove it with the removal of the rack. So I'm excited for what it means for all of the casters in the game, really, that had rack slots. So all of the new casters, so to speak, will get looked at, evaluated, and brought in. On the stat reduction side, we're really looking at a point or so down on some of these stats. We're looking at kind of level set. A character jack at a mat 7 would be appropriate. That was really good at melee. A 7 would be a mastery level skill. Beyond that, most things are probably going to go back to a 6. And I say go back to because most of previous editions, the game had a lot of 6s in mat, and 7s were reserved for your more enhanced individuals. And that's definitely going to be the case again. That's the intent. So very exciting to see all of this as we move forward in this brave new world. So big changes coming to Warmachine in January. Very exciting. I'm very excited for it. I don't mean to be alarmist or have you think I'm alarmist. I'm very excited. I was hoping for a change like this in January. I think the recognition that, or recognition rather, recognition is the word, not recognition. Recognition that we have been in a rocket tag meta for a while in Mark IV, and that is probably not the best place for the game to be and to remain. Really sets the stage for the game to kind of reset a little bit, get into an even better spot, potentially. We've been in a very good balanced spot overall this edition, and particularly this last year. It felt very good to play games, felt very good overall. I think that this reduction in lethality, the caster reimagining and rebalancing, and the removal of the rack, I think are all really positive steps to continue us down a path where the game just gets better and better, and we really start to hit the stride of Warmachine's 4th edition, first one under SFG. So very exciting stuff. Looking forward to all the goodies in January. Keynote was amazing. I have a full reaction video. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you like and subscribe. Do all the YouTube things. Hit that bell. I appreciate you all, and you all have a fantastic rest of your day.